Happy birthday, dear Jesus.
A not quite Christmas cake at a food bank in Canterbury this morning. Local resident Justin Welby has dropped in to help hand out food parcels. Food banks say nurses and teachers are now among their users. So when I met the Archbishop today, I asked if he sympathised with public sector workers striking over pay.
I think we need to think very, very hard about what we ought to pay to ensure that nobody needs to go to a food bank. The person I was talking to who was sorting out food was saying it's horrible and wonderful. It's wonderful that there's so much help, but it's horrible we need to do it at all.
As a child, you know what it is like to struggle at Christmas, to struggle to put money, in the bank to put food on the table. I just wondered if you could cast your mind back and just share with people how tough that was and what that felt like.
My father at the time was drinking very heavily, and there'll be loads of people watching this who know exactly what it feels like, and he didn't get any food in. And life was too disorganised. And I was about 12, 13. And so I think, as far as I remember, there was a bit of bread and there may have been some jam or honey or something like that. And that was Christmas dinner right through the day. And, I remember looking out the window and seeing families go off to church or come back or walking together in the afternoon. And it was, as a child, actually, I just thought, well, that's life.
And I just wonder whether your personal experience of deprivation, really, is what partly inspires you to be so outspoken about the treatment of refugees. You speak you don't pull your punches on that, even though it is quite a political issue.
It's a political issue. Everything's a political issue. I mean, absolutely everything. But it's a political issue with a deep moral basis.
The Tory MP, Jonathan Gullis, for example, accused you of using the pulpit to preach about politics. I mean, is there a danger that you're politicising your office? You could preach about this stuff without kind of laying into the Home Secretary, for example.
I've never laid into the Home Secretary.
Well, I mean, you've not minced your words.
I talk about policy, not people.
Okay, but
and that would be a welcome change from a lot of politics.
But you said in your Easter sermon, you said that the policy was immoral, sending refugees to Rwanda, this was. It was not a solution, it is a mistake, it will be a failure. I mean, the High Court has ruled that that policy was lawful. Do you think you got that wrong?
No, absolutely not. We never said it was legal or illegal. We said it's wrong. Something can be legal and still wrong.
But it may not be a failure, as you predicted. It may be a success in policy terms.
I don't think it will be a success for a lot of reasons, which would take more than this interview to explain.
You make no apology for speaking out on the government's policy on refugees?
No, absolutely not. It's a moral issue.
And you said you never laid into the Home Secretary, but you did lay into her language, didn't you?
I don't attack people. I might criticise a policy or the use of an expression, because language really matters.
And you'll carry on doing that?
Absolutely.
On the cost of living, on refugees, do you think the church is increasingly having to step in where the state has failed? Is that right? Is that what the church is for?
Yeah, I mean, the church is doing more than it's done since the Second World War.
And what does that say about us as a nation, then?
It says that our sense of connectedness is very strong, that we're a wonderful, generous, hospitable nation. But it also says that we need to step away from politicising every issue so that some things can be done on a collaborative basis, on a non-political basis.
Next year is a very big year for you and the country. You'll be the first Archbishop of Canterbury in 70 years to crown a monarch. I wondered if you could give us a sense of the enormity of that occasion.
Well, it's giving me nightmares already. You know, the normal sort of nightmares that I think 2 nights ago I dreamt I'd we got to the point and I'd left the crown at Lambeth Palace. Now, how did I get the crown to Lambeth Palace since it's guarded by half the army? I've no idea. But I was looking around and the king was looking at me, you know, some nightmare. So it's obviously weighing on me quite a lot. But it's just an enormous honour and privilege to do that. And the coronation weekend is going to be a time of bringing the country together.
Well, it's interesting because you talk about it being a time of coming together, a time of togetherness and national unity, but for some communities, the monarchy is an ever-present reminder of our colonial past. That will be an issue, won't it?
I think it's an issue that has been addressed and is being addressed really, really well and can be addressed this year. It will be a time of saying, you know, there's really impressive parts of our history, there are really tragic parts of our history, but we are building this enormous community of nations around the world, not on an imperial basis, but on a collaborative basis.
Archbishop Justin, thank you very much.